Pebeo's Vitrea 160 paints were developed to mimic the look of true stained glass, fused glass, and colored glass without the dangers and difficulties of working with those materials. Instead, the Vitrea 160 glass from Pebeo is simply baked in a kitchen oven for permanence. Once baked, it's permanent, microwave safe, dishwasher safe, and safe for use with solvents. Let's take a quick look at our color chart here. The Vitrea 160 color range has a total of 30 colors. Of these 30 colors, there are 20 that are transparent and there are 10 that are frosted. The frosted colors are applied in a gloss appearance and they dry to a frosted appearance. In addition, there are 10 dimensional outliners. The dimensional outliners are the same paint as you have in the bottled paint, but they're in a thicker viscosity. You simply apply the paint through the applicator and it remains dimensional on the surface of the piece that you are painting. In addition, we have 4 mediums. We have an iridescent medium, a gloss medium, a frosted medium, and a thinner. All of those are used with the colors at the appropriate times. If you choose to paint with the Vitrea 160 paints, we would suggest that you paint on a clear or transparent surface because the colors are so brilliant and radiant. So, of course, it's a good idea to choose something like a wine glass. Here I've prepared a wine glass with a bit of rice to hold my pattern in. Very easy to do work on glass because you're able to place a pattern behind the glass. I'm going to use the outliner. You simply squeeze the applicator very gently for application. So I'm following my pattern by placing circles directly over my grapes and I'm gently squeezing the outliner. This is a very quick process. If I were to continue, I would complete the entire design around the glass and then I would simply go in with a little bit of the liquid paint and drop the paint right in between the painted areas. We would recommend that you would allow it to dry between the first coat and the second coat for about 10 to 15 minutes. In addition to this technique, we have a very fun technique called the coulis or the drip technique. With the drip or coulis technique, I'm using one of the mediums. I have filled these bottles with 75% pure color and 25% of the thinner or the diluent. With this process, the best thing to do is start with your dark color, start at the base of a wine glass, daiquiri glass, martini glass, any sort of shape that you would like, and simply squeeze and quickly move the paint along the glass. After you've made it around one time with your first color, you want to come back in with your lighter color and fill in the spaces that you have left blank. Try to fill in as many of the transparent areas as possible, leaving just a few behind. This makes a very beautiful effect. If we were to complete this process, I would allow the paint to drip. Once it completed dripping, I would clean up the edges and I would be left with something very similar to this. A beautiful, intensely bright martini glass for celebrating. Once this has been painted, we will then bake it in a kitchen oven. We will bake it according to the instructions. Once it's been baked, you simply remove it from the oven. You want to place it in the oven when the oven is cool. You want to remove it when the oven is cool. With the Vitrea 160 glass paints, there are many opportunities to make beautiful pieces for your home or for gifts. As you see here, our examples are showing the beauty and the transparency of the paints by placing a candle inside a painted object or by placing a light bulb behind it. In addition, it's quite beautiful to place pieces painted with Vitrea 160 in your windows to display for your neighbors. We hope that you would consider using Pebeo's Vitrea 160 glass paints. They're a lot of fun.